All right, let me make sure my live stream's up. Hold on one sec. We'll get going. All right, cool. We're up. Awesome. First, if hey, look, if power goes out, we just got notice here at the house that power might be going out. I have the internet on backup. I have this computer on backup batteries, and I have the house on a generator. So if the internet stays up, I'll stay up. It's happened once before, but not during the live. So anyway. I wanted to thank you guys and welcome you to HISAdvocates Q&A. Um, we do these about every 2 weeks on living in the private. My name is Kelby Smith. I'm a real estate broker licensed in California. Uh, my history, and I've just been an entrepreneur, small business owner, medium-sized business owner a couple times for my whole life. I was an employee once and hated it. But I learned a lot in my career that led me to the point where I looked at this world a whole lot differently, and it was originally through a lens of maybe some conspiracy, but a lot of that conspiracy seems to tend to lean towards some truth, if not complete truth. Um, so after I lost everything that I owned, my home, my cars, my dignity, my pride. I went on this journey in 2008, and it led me to what I do today. I've completely adjusted my lifestyle to what you see today, which is a guy who understands the law, understands how to live in a world without conforming to the things that the world requires. Um, Meaning I've lived on a lack of a social security number for 16 years. They did it for thousands of years before us, and there's no reason why we can't do it today. People have a tendency to think, well, we're kind of screwed when we have to rent, and those things really don't apply. And I want to share a few things to stay off the hesitancy about coming out. Number one, the social doesn't belong to you; it belongs to your birth certificate. The only thing that we're recommending that you do not utilize the social to access credit or access a benefit. If you put on an application the birth certificate name, which is the all capital letter name, and yes, the birth certificate is a representation as a corporation to which the state took the live born record, put it on a birth certificate, monetized it, and incorporated it, and it belongs to them. So the all caps name belongs to them. The lowercase name is theoretically yours. So when you start to get your mind pushing in the direction of trying to comprehend simple things like that, you start to look at pretty much everything differently. And I started to realize I can operate without a social. I don't need credit to live my life. I don't need credit to buy things. I have to wait a little bit longer. Yep. I have to save my money. Yep. But there is an element of peace being out of the structure in the system because I am not going to pay the whore one dime of tax, not one. If I can help it. Going to the store is a whole nother ball of wax. There are things that you can do to stop paying tax at the local store. But when it comes to state and federal, they don't have a right. They don't have a law supporting them, and no pastors. We shouldn't be teaching a congregation to be a good U.S. citizen. You should be a taxpayer. That's simply not the truth. You should be looking at the structure at large and what they donate their money to, and decide for yourself if that is something that is godly and holy that you want to contribute your money to. And so I want to implore people, no matter who the president is, to start to consider that everything in the background is being done by design. Now, I looked at today just like you guys did. Today was an inauguration day. It got my emotions up. I felt like we finally have somebody in our corner. I felt like there's And I've always told you guys, I'm not a Trump supporter. I think there's a lot of arrogance there. I think there's a lot of whatever there. But as a president of a corporation known as the United States, he was the best that we've ever had, plain and simple. Unless you're smoking crack, watching CNN 24 hours a day, you would know the difference. Now, does that mean I liked everything he did? No, there was many things towards the end of his presidency I completely disagreed with. And y'all that have been following me know what I am talking about. I can't say it on certain streams. But the reality is, I would much rather have the guy who gave that speech today any day of the week to stand in front of the very criminals that have been withholding this nation from prospering, withholding this nation from advancing, taking this nation and throwing it towards a world order and telling them that we are a democracy, but we will bring back the republic. Those are his words today. That's the first time I've ever heard a seated president acknowledge the difference of the two. Number one. Number two, he's not afraid to say his piece. He's not afraid to say what he wants to say. We're not, and with Elon Musk over his right shoulder, we are getting rid of the electric car Enforcement Act, where by 2030 everybody needs to be on an electric car. Not going to debate that with people. I'm not going to say gas is better. For sure, though, what it takes to mine a battery today is not better than gas. So I loved hearing that. It's, they can do the same things though with a gas powered vehicle that they can do with an electric powered vehicle. They can turn them off anywhere they want. So I don't know why they're worried about making it all electric, because it is for sure not saving the environment. That's not what's happening when you're talking an electrical vehicle. I'm just saying. There's a lot of argument that people are doing with in regards to that. But what I want to say is we are about to see a massive, massive explosion on the economy, and you're going to see things like you've never seen before, both good and bad. You're going to see the fight of the world order like you've never seen to try to take the sovereignty of the people away. You're going to see the information of social media and news media being utilized like never before. And I think that we all need to be very careful right now. You're going to see the cryptocurrency markets going through the roof. You're going to see cash depreciating in the stock market going through the roof, but not because we're doing better. It's because cash value is depreciating. Everybody's bailing out of cash and going into gold, silver, crypto land, things that are much more valuable than cash these days. And I just want to warn you of a couple of things before we get into the Q&A. First, if you have any questions or answers, post them in the Q&A down at the bottom here in Zoom, or you can post them into the chat session on YouTube, and I'll do my best to get to them. I do have another show tonight with Carmel. We're doing Man Cave Classified, show number 20, season 2, show number 20, tonight at 6 p.m. live here on YouTube and HISAdvocates TV. I do have a notice. I'm really trying to promote HISAdvocates TV because it is a platform that is not biased. It is a full-blown network, and it is on pretty much every TV out there in the world. And the way that I structured it up allows for us to say what we want and do what we want to the public on TV, because we are a private unincorporated, number one. Number two, but because everybody agrees to the terms of service, gives us an email, a phone, and logs in. And that is extremely different than anything else everybody else is doing. Yes, Netflix and Amazon, they figured that out a long time ago, so they can say whatever they want on their own platform. So it's the same principle with a private, any private membership association. So I'm really promoting HISAdvocates TV. First and foremost, do me a favor, click this link. If you're not already a member of hisadvocates.org, join the free membership, and go on your phone. Take a minute, go on your phone, go to your app store and download HISAdvocates TV. It's super important that you guys do this and start getting the message out to people. Just as you're talking to people, let them know about the platform. It's at its infancy stage. We've been in the development of it for about 5 years. But it allows for us to have communications to anybody throughout the world. They will at some point shut down network systems, whether it's through EMP, whether it's through whatever, to get people off of television, to get people off of whatever, and they will control the message in some way, somehow. There's a movie called 1984. I think that's what it's called. Developed way back in the day, and it was a very weird um, movie based on a future, apocalyptic type structure where everybody got to listen to the same media channel. Everybody got reprimanded. Everybody got a certain portion of food. Everybody had to go to work. Everybody was sold out to the structure. And that is by far exactly what China is doing to their own citizens today and what they want to do to America. America is the greatest nation ever, and it's because of God. And we need to get back to those principles. And we need to stop thinking about race, about gender, and start thinking about mankind and animals and helping each other and doing what we can to save the greatest nation on earth. This is our last shot. We literally got a shot thrown across our bow with the last administration. I loved watching Biden and Kamala squirm when Trump was exposing their weakness and their blatant um, desire to allow for terrorists to come over our border by the millions. I just loved watching what was being spoken to that. And so for me, that was a great way to start the morning, a great way to start the day. So for you guys that are coming on, just because Trump's into office, we have to be thinking about our lives. We have to be thinking about tax. We have to be thinking about sheltering and so forth. So on that note, I'm going to start with one thing that is going to be rampant in the next couple of years, cryptocurrency fraud. Even if you have a hard wallet, some guy, I'm just going to go straight into, I'm going to show the video. I'm going to do a more in-depth analysis on this video. I really want you guys to take a step back and listen to what I'm about to say. If you are in cryptocurrency and you do have a hard wallet, you better be paying attention. This guy was saying he had a Nano X and that he got and started doing some transfers and his screen went black. And instantly, he didn't know what was wrong. He was just staring at the screen. He was waiting for it to come back. And when it finally came back about an hour later, he rebooted his computer. About an hour later, when it finally came back after he rebooted his computer or something like that, he went into the account and noticed all the money was gone. So there's a couple of things that you need to be advised on. When you are on a computer, you need to be on a computer that has no other apps on it. So do not do cryptocurrency from your phone where you're transferring things from your phone with your device plugged into your phone. Do not do cryptocurrency from your main computer. You want to make sure that you buy a couple of things. One of them is a Faraday sleeve. Okay. The Faraday sleeve protects the computer from an EMP blast. It also protects the computer from somebody taking over it. Let's say, for example, that guy's screen went black and he's still, as he's telling this story on YouTube or whatever it was I was watching, I think it was IG. As he was telling the story, he's on his computer and he said the screen went black. Why? They have software to make your screen go black and you think your computer is dead. So you go and you start working on something else. You're in the middle of a transaction. They're in the background. Listen to me very carefully. They're in the background working on your computer, transferring everything off because you've already opened it. You've already given them access. Now they're transferring everything off of your computer while the screen goes black. If you're number one, new computer, $200-300, nothing on it, preferably with a Linux-based operating system. Okay. Many of you are going to be millionaires. Some of you are going to be billionaires. Do the labor. Get yourself a computer that is new, no apps on it, hopefully with a Linux-based system so that you can join the internet. Number two, VPN. You may want to get 2 VPNs or 3 VPNs, but a VPN for sure one. You want to get malware software. Malwarebytes does, and it's not a conformed world order system structure software. Malwarebytes offers both the VPN and the I wish I had a link to give you below. But a VPN and uh the malware solution for your computer. So you have now a computer, no other app is on it. You're not installing anything on it other than a basic browser, and you're uninstalling everything on it except what you need. And then you install whatever is for the device, and you get the VPN, and that's it. That's all that's going on in that machine. If your machine ever goes dark, blacks out, or somebody takes over the keyboard, because it has a battery in it, unplugging it doesn't do any good. But this will save your arse. You know, I meant the other word. Ass is in the Bible, by the way, jackass. It's okay. You take a Faraday case, you take the computer, you put it into the Faraday case as fast as you can, and you close it and roll it up and wrap it in aluminum foil if you have to, or put it in a secondary Faraday case, cutting off their ability to access that machine and transfer your wealth away from you. Why, Kelby, would you think of all these things? I got to tell you, man, because this is how these guys get wealthy. There's going to be teams of people, millions, stealing from people all day long from crypto. This is the next biggest everything, because you can lose millions in a second with a bad. I've watched this happen. Look, this isn't like for us in the real estate business. When a house is done, I would watch emails come through with information that said wire transfer to such and such, and it looked exactly like it was supposed to look, and it was a fraudulent email. And so we would always call and verify. The escrow departments would call and verify, title would call and verify everything on the transaction. Many times, many times, I've seen that fraud. So in my line of work and what I've done throughout my career, I've kind of been in that mindset of watching people steal from banks and watching people steal from homeowners. And so, like, literally a homeowner needed to come and put a deposit down, and they knew he had to deposit 250,000 for his portion of a down payment on a $2 million home. And he would get an email, and he'd just follow the instructions thinking it was from escrow and title, and it wasn't. And that money would get wired off and be gone forever. And so those are not a joke. And when you're thinking about crypto, you can do the same thing in crypto. Number one, there's a lot of scams right now, phishing scams, scams from people saying we are Ripple, we are XRP, we have a 2-to-1 promotion, we got free coins. All you got to do is put the XYZ amount of coins into an escrow account and we will double it, and da 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 da. No, they're stealing your money. It is over and over, but it's going to go next level stuff with the technology of computers and being able to take them over and hijack them. So do me a favor, spend a couple minutes and do yourself a favor. You can go on Amazon, and I'm going to get everybody the links later that you can utilize if you want to wait. You want to get a Faraday sleeve for your hard wallet itself. You want to get a Faraday sleeve for your computer, and you want to stuff those both into a fire protection system. I have these big red packages, and I just stuff everything into there, and then I put it into a fire safe. So much of what people, when they came home to in the Pacific Palisades, they didn't have anything. Why? Because whatever that fire was, it was so hot that it was able to burn down the cars next to the trees that didn't get burned, and it was able to burn the entire house flat, just in split seconds. And so I find that, interesting, but we got to consider, is our stuff going to be safe from, a beam? So I'm actually looking for blue Faraday's leaves. Don't laugh at me. A little over the top. I get it. For those who are in the know of why blue, you know, for some reason, houses with blue roofs don't get burned. And that's a fact, both in the Hawaii fires and here. Anything that's blue, umbrellas, cars, houses, anything does not burn. For some reason, whatever technology it was, because it wasn't a standard fire, it was used to burn out the entire city. Um, Whatever that was. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but it wasn't a typical or standard fire by any means. And so, something for us to consider as we are going forward and looking at all the stuff going on in the world, we have to take extra precautions. And HISAdvocates.org, and our VIP membership is where we really support the VIP members with these concepts. I've been leading the VIP members for about 5 years to purchase certain cryptocurrencies, and we are up over 700% on an average of gains on the cryptocurrencies that I recommended. Um, it's kind of hard not to. I'm not saying I'm a prophet by any means, but you can read between the lines of what's going to happen with certain cryptocurrencies. And I've spent tens of hours reading and understanding and digesting. And I've shared that with my VIP members and sometimes shared it online with YouTube. Now, for us, we are going into a new age, literally. And I don't want people to be intimidated by it, scared by it. I often, we have a morning huddle on Mondays and Thursdays for the VIP members and IBOs over at HISAdvocates. And we talk about all this kind of stuff because we have to have a mindset that is going to get us through some of these very difficult things that are heading the direction of this nation. When Trump first became president in 2016, every move he made just seemed like it was for the benefit of the country, for the people. All the things that he did, and we were an energy efficient nation. He developed the Northwestern Pipeline. He wasn't letting certain things intimidate or stop the creation of the pipeline that allowed for massive amounts of oil to come into our nation. He did what was right, in my opinion. But guess what happened at the same time? They started doing what? Doing everything in their power to tear down this nation. They were throwing bricks through windows, billions of dollars of damage to businesses. They created an environment in Seattle, Washington called Chazville. It was a 3-block area of just total destruction because the police couldn't get in there and do anything about it. And it was Trump sending in federal law enforcement in a private capacity where they were not in official uniform with AKs, ARs, to go in and take out these dudes and tear them down and get them put away and arrested. It was the president helping one of the most liberal states called Washington State to reclaim its sovereignty, if you will, over its land. So there was a consistent attack on America. And then they brought another one. It was called coronavirus. And this coronavirus was the most scary thing in the world. And I'll be frank with you, at first, I was very intimidated by it. I lost an entire YouTube channel because I said all I wanted to do was see what was in what they were pushing and promoting. And because I said that, and I said a certain word, I lost tens of thousands of members and 9 years of developing a YouTube channel. Two weeks ago, I was up to 75 or 6,000 subscribers on YouTube. In one day, they stripped me of 15 or 16,000 subscribers overnight. I woke up and I was at 60 again, and now we're back up to the 68 or whatever it is right now. I'm going to tell you, it's People want to hear the truth, and people are out there wanting to stop the truth. And even if it sounds like a conspiracy to somebody, as we're breaking into mainstream, where mainstream is actually looking towards ideas like private structures, private foundations, or ideas like state citizenship. When mainstream starts to look at that, and that's what's happening right now, we have people from the NSA, from the federal government, from the highest branches in the federal government, police, retired active law enforcement, retired active military, and plain Jane people, NFL, multiple players, going through the living in the private program, people that are worth hundreds and hundreds, if not $1 billion+ going through the living in the private program. Mainstream is starting to realize this isn't a farce. As a matter of fact, when I talk to mainstream and I talk to some of the power brokers, they get their attorneys on, and the attorneys are doing what? They're trying to expatriate them so they don't have to pay taxes. And that's not the way to do it. Because when you expatriate, you take an oath. I promise to uphold all the laws of the United States. That's one of the parts of the oath. What are the laws? Well, it could be construed IRS laws, could be construed anything. You can move out. I don't like the word expatriate. You can quit the corporation. It's simple, public notice. That's it. That's it. We do multiple things, but you have multiple jobs. You have a job called taxpayer at the IRS. You have a job called driver at the DMV. You have a job called voter at the voter's registration at the county recorder. You have many, many jobs that you've taken with the United States corporation, and those jobs are absolute proof that you're an employee of the United States. You're actually holding the office up, holding the office position, which is the United States citizenship. That's the position. That's what it's called. See, you're not the U.S. citizen. The U.S. citizen is your birth certificate. I know people are like, what? What? I'm the, you're not. You're holding an office. And you can quit that position with the corporation. Title 28, subsection 3002. The United States is a federal corporation, meaning you can quit your job at any time you want. The thing is, you can't be in use of the benefits of things like a social security number where you're gaining credit. Now, I know a lot of people out there listening to Robert Kiyosaki and they're using those principles of debt. Go for it. I mean, it's good. I mean, if that's your bag, go for it. I have a feeling Robert Kiyosaki is going to move into a position of cash very, very fast. He's going to be selling things off very, very fast because when all you have is debt and people can't afford the rents and you have 5,000 apartment units, which he does, that teaching of debts and working off of debts is a valid instrument. It's a valid way to do business and make money fast. The problem is anytime you go through this hyperinflation where prices keep on rising, stock market keeps on rising, you're disqualifying the value of cash. What is it going to be when you have a debt load of X? Cash is worthless and you're strapped because nobody can afford the rents anymore. It's going to put a lot of people in a lot of positions. Plus, let's talk about some facts. If you didn't get your fire insurance taken away from you this year in California, it went up. Ours went up 3x. It went from 2,500 to 7,500. So the next thing they're going to do, hopefully not under this administration, but the next thing they're going to do is they're going to go for the increasing costs of everything. Now, I know we want to get our costs down, and that's what we're thinking. But when the dollar keeps going down in value, it costs more dollars to buy things. Period. It's called inflation. And we are at the point where we are in hyperinflation, where a bag of groceries is $100 bill right now. It's going to be even worse. And that means your work, your dollars that you're making at the office as you're employed are not going to do more value for you because that's not going to increase as fast as inflation. So the first things to go are your car. Second thing to go is your rent on your mortgage. Rent on the house or an apartment generally goes third. Um, Everybody stops paying on their credit cards. Everybody lets their cars go. They keep the cell phone, they keep the lights and utilities on. And that's why we promote that through ACN at HISAdvocates, is because those are things that never people will cut off. They get rid of their health insurance. That's again why we approach and promote impact health coverage, because it's 1/3 on average the cost of insurance. So we are, as a membership base at HISAdvocates, many hundreds of people now are getting ready for that hyperinflation time period, both setting ourselves up in a cryptocurrency mindset: gold, silver, crypto, food, guns, ammo, the things to which are not going down in value. And we're setting ourselves up with that so that we can rest and be assured that when the crap hits the fan, all we have is the one bill to pay, getting out of debt, getting your home paid for, doing the final transfer on the house to watch your deed come in. So when they make property with, right now I'm about 1,000 a month just on property taxes. But I can't work on getting the house out of the county recorder until the debt instrument is paid off. And so there are ways to deal with all elements of debt. There are ways to deal with tax on the home, tax at the for things that you purchase on a day-to-day basis, tax on your paycheck. There are things that can be done to help offset and help you guys through these very difficult times. A foundation, at the bare minimum, you're able to donate funds to your own foundation and take a deduction of how much it is they're going to be able to tax at the end of the year, thus getting a lot of money back if you're an employee. There's all kinds of ways to structure up your business. You can have a business of any kind and bring it into the private. We do it all the time. Every kind of corporation you can imagine: contractors, subcontractors, doctors, chiropractors, yes, doctors too. Any kind of business you can imagine can go into the private, utilizing an unincorporated business trust, utilizing a PMA, utilizing a foundation. Depends on what you are, what your desires are, what your belief systems are, and so on and so forth. So just know this: there are structures that are in place right now where you're looking at somebody who's done in excess of 7,000 to 8,000 of them. I have no idea. Over the last 14, 15 years, I have ran through one personally as HISAdvocates for the last 14 years, not changing the name, not getting a different bank account, not getting a different tax ID number, staying the same, not having to file a return, because we don't fall under the classification of the jurisdiction of the IRS, period. And nor do you have to. Nobody has to. We live in a free world. We can choose who we want to operate under. We do not need to have a job. Okay, but since they do not allow or train their local law enforcement for people to be able to drive without a license, even though under Title 18 you were allowed to drive without a driver's license. Also, the Supreme Court's already determined that. I'm not saying I do that, but the reality is you can recontract your driver's license with the DMV, and it is not a bunch of gobbledygook. You can do administrative processes with the federal government just like they do with you. When they want to steal your house, they do an administrative process the entire way through. It's letters, confirmations, letters of default, Notices of sale on courthouse steps. Not one time did you ever get a service from a sheriff. Did you get a lawsuit? Were you going or being taken through an Article 4 protection under the Constitution to have a jury of your peers? You didn't go through any of that. They stole your house using an administrative process. It's not something we've made up, but we have perfected at HISAdvocates the ability to remove that contract as it is and restructure it with the DMV to where we can still hold the license in our wallet. Very doable. The IRS, we completely cut them off. There's a thing called revocation. Listen, parents, friends, family, pastors, don't huff and puff at this. There is not a single law that the IRS can stand on, not one that they can stand on that allows them to do an income tax. Not one. It is all voluntary. Every single company is in on it. And so if you want to work at the company, you got a contract with the IRS, and that's called the W-4 or a W-9, period. So that's the problem. You're voluntarily paying taxes to the IRS. Plus, you're holding the office of a U.S. citizen. Plus, you're filing a voluntary 1040 form every year saying, this is how much I owe you. Why? Because we've all been convinced that's the way. In IRS code, I just had a conversation with a CPA 4 or 5 days ago. I had to tell the CPA, and I'm like being very respectful when I'm talking to them. In the IRS code, something you should probably know. You probably already know what I'm about to say. There's a thing called revocation of election, where you can actually revoke the election to be a taxpayer. It's right there. It's built into their own code. You can revoke the election to participate in the Social Security Administration. You don't have to let go of the benefits either. There is a way to deal with government in a form and fashion that allows for you to escape across the board and be free under God. I can't wait till the Republic stands up. I can't wait till they figure out that they are truly not able to fix what they have. They have to step back into Republic, and that is a completely separate entity than what they currently are. Let's discuss some of the questions. I don't see any questions here. One in the Q&A so far. If you have any questions, just post them in the Q&A or post them over onto the website. The LLC is a structure that belongs to corporate government, correct? That is correct. Anything that is registered at a Secretary of State belongs to them. It does not belong to you. A certificate of stock, which is not stock. A certificate of stock is not stock. A certificate of ownership of a vehicle is not ownership of a vehicle. A birth certificate is not a form of title. It is a certificate from the state of the true title, which is the live born record. We fail all the way across the board. Everything that belongs to us, we give it away. The child, the equivalent of the title, the live born record from the hospital given to the state. They give you a certificate, a birth certificate, the corporation. So it's the same principle with an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, any of those structures. Once they're registered at the Secretary of State, you are not an owner. You have to do whatever the rules are behind that structure. We operate an LLC. The LLC should file a tax return 100%. Doesn't mean you have to pay taxes, but you can file a return, and you can do structures within that LLC that work with a foundation to offset any income. So the LLC is a zero return. An LLC filing as an F Corp should file a tax return 100%. If you're playing the game with these guys and you're using their structures, you're obligated. Okay. Those are the rules. But there's a lot of people that know how to play the game, don't file just a return with a bunch of income on it. They'll work with a foundation, offset the money coming through the LLC to the foundation so that there's zero income, and they have to file no return for the foundation and a zero income return for the LLC or foundation, or excuse me, the C corp or the LLC or the S corp. How can a profit and loss from an S flow through the owners, be reconciled personally without a personal tax return? If I was doing an LLC, I would make the foundation the primary member of the LLC and have everything flow through the foundation. The foundation has no requirement to file a tax return. Any constitutional accountants you would recommend for guidance? I don't really have a lot of people out there filing returns. I do know there's people that love what we say, but I don't refer people out to filing returns. And plus, it's so simple. This isn't, you don't need a constitutional attorney. It's just you're flowing the money through the foundation that has no obligation to file a return. And the corporation does have an obligation to file a return, but there's no income. So there's really not a need for a constitutional accountant, if you get my drift. Um, After going completely into private, can you still rent an apartment? Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to get it done. First and foremost, I want to see people think bigger. Do me a favor, become a VIP member. I guarantee you'll think bigger in a very short period of time. Think bigger. You don't want to be in an apartment. You don't want to be in New York City. You don't want to be in a 15-minute city. Those things are published items to which, these guys are telling us they want to do. You want to be on my yacht. You want to be on your own yacht. I don't have a yacht yet, but I want to see myself in the back of a yacht like this in the background where I'm looking off of the ocean. And, it's a lot easier to battle a few Somalis than it is to battle an entire government. But, all you need is Starlink and you can do whatever you want, live however you want, fish whenever you want, or you can have an island, or you can live bigger than the way that you currently are. And listen, there's a wealth transfer being happening in this time period that will never, ever happen again. And it doesn't take much XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR. It doesn't take much of that cryptocurrency, which you can buy cheap right now. And you could be worth millions and millions of dollars in a very short period of time. There's stuff that we've talked about with our VIP members on HISAdvocates.org for a long time about why that is. And it makes sense to a lot of people. I am getting calls left and right every single week from friends and members thanking me for referring them to the coins that I referred them to. They're all very successful and they're all a part of the world order structure and system. And guess what? We're the bank. There's coming a time where they won't allow you to own cryptocurrency on a hard wallet. There's coming a time where they're going to try to enforce things that, aren't going to make sense, and that you turn over all your cryptocurrency and give it over to the custody of an exchange. And it's like history repeating itself. Just like, hey, come and give us all your gold and all your silver. And you're no longer allowed to own gold. I don't people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. But in the early 30s, that was a federal government mandate to U.S. citizens, which there weren't really none. U.S. citizens really didn't take off until 1933 and 34 and 35. But where people were holding the job of a U.S. citizen with the federal government. And it was kind of a mixed bag back then. But the bottom line is this: the people were forced to turn in their gold for a fiat currency, for a gold-backed currency. But it was paper, it was worthless. And you couldn't own more than 4 ounces. It's going to be the same principle. It's just like they did in Australia: turn in your guns. Crime went up 25%. Well, I'm the bank. If I have cryptocurrency on a hard wallet and I'm protecting it and I know what I'm doing with it, I am the bank. That means I can call anybody up and initiate a transfer from my bank to their account, and I will have purchased something. I can walk up to a Mercedes-Benz dealer and say, do you accept USD, FedCoin, XRP, Bitcoin? What do you accept? Any one of those. Okay, how much is it? Okay, I'll give you this in a form in 3 minutes. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. Go sit in the car, make the hit, drop the money. You get title in whatever you want instantly overnight. These are realities for tens of millions of people that are listening to the people out there on what to do. And so the biggest part that I'm trying to get out there is join our VIP membership, because we are working very hard at showing you how to be a motivated purchaser and what to purchase and how to get it dialed in. And we give you the support systems and the tools to make that happen. Super important. So if there's anything or got a question right here. I'm looking to invest in the houses through tax liens. Would like to use my foundation for this, but if I can't, can we set up another type of entity as a pastor? First and foremost, you can get any lien, like when you're purchasing a lien from a state or a county and you're wanting them to record in a certain foundation, generally it's title that would stop that from happening. If they do, there are title companies out there that will record in any company name that you want, but you can also just pay for what's known as, and listen to the term of what I'm about to say, write it down, date DATE down DOWN title pull. You can, because I've never seen anybody cash in on a title policy. So if you do a date down title pull and then you record that same day, you're pretty well guaranteed there's nothing that's coming up against that house. The only problem that you would have is somebody had a counter deed where they recorded a deed that nobody else knew about, but then even title wouldn't know about that. So there's really not a big need to have a title policy when you're doing those kinds of transactions, because number one, your risk is so limited. You're talking about 5 or 10 grand on an average lien to purchase a home. You're doing bids against other people on a home. And a lot of times you get in the win and you get the home, and you just got to go over. And I'm sure there's title companies that will record in the name of a foundation. But yeah, you can use any company as a pastor. You can purchase it with the foundation, record immediately on a quit claim to, or purchase it with the LLC, record immediately on a quit claim to the foundation. You get all your work done, whatever you're going to do through the foundation, rent it permanently or resell it as fast as you can after you've done your property maintenance and fixing it up, and record the sale, get paid through the foundation, and have no capital gains requirements, period. It's huge. Foundations are very powerful. What is the website to buy crypto? How do we register with you? Well, first, there's a link right here, barcode. Open up your pictures on your phone, hold your camera up to that barcode, and that'll give you the link to go right now and register for as a free member. You will want to be a VIP member if you want to learn where, what, how to do certain things with crypto. We have guys that are very inexpensive. They'll spend time with you to help you establish a hard wallet. You don't just want to start an exchange account where you can buy cryptocurrency and put it on an exchange. You want to make sure you have a hard wallet. Get the crypto purchased on the exchange and then immediately transfer it over to your hard wallet. And then you want to know how to test transfer. And those are all things that you're going to learn through being a VIP member and through trial and error. So just make sure you start right here. Get your pictures open on your phone, put it over the QR code, and become a member, then join the VIP, and then people will help you. Do we need an attorney to set up a trust? Honestly, it's one of the dumbest things you could do. Why? They're 10,000, 5,000, whatever, super expensive. And most of the attorneys don't understand private versus public. And number three, most will register that trust. Very dumb. I'm not saying attorneys are dumb. I'm saying the scope to which of the knowledge that they have here was trained by a structure and a system that does not allow for people to escape. They develop mostly registered trusts with language that gives the government jurisdiction over them. You can develop trusts in the private, and we do at HISAdvocates.org. We develop trusts in the private that do not grant anybody but the trust beneficiary control over the trust. How do I get more information on establishing a 508c1A convention association self-supporting foundation? Need assistance from military private group. Join HISAdvocates.org. Call us toll free 844-HISADVO. 844-HISADVO. ADVO. If you don't have a phone that has the numbers and letters on them, it's 844-447-2386. Press extension 2 or extension 706, and we will help you establish a foundation. Okay. You're very welcome. Thank you, OGAS Law. I comprehend the last question was a dumb one. A lot more I can't write. Got it. I son of a VIP member. Thank you, bro. Most important question I did a ROE in 2022. They never acknowledged. I did an ASN. If I pay taxes this year on my LLC, can I do another ROE with you guys? Oh yeah. So the revocation of election that you did, I guarantee is not the one that we do. Super important that you talk to our guys, specifically Dow extension 706, or you talk to Matt. The revocation of election is super important on how it's done as a state citizen. They're the ones that I've seen with Weiss in different places out there. They're doing very generally accepted ones that are jurisdictionally not sound and don't deal with the state citizenship element. Remember something, our founders were not US citizens, they were state citizens. And so that element of understanding how to be able to do an ROE, revocation of election, in the private as a state citizen is extremely critical, and ours is very well thought through, and you'll see what I'm talking about when you get it. I signed up as a VIP, but I let it lapse. Can I set it up back? Yeah, Sheila, not a problem. I appreciate you too and your time. No problem. Just go in and re-click the VIP at the top of the page on HISadvocates.org and just join again. Listen, I love doing these, but in 1 hour, I'm going live on America, Trump, the inauguration with Carmel on Man Cave Classified. So look for another email very shortly and another text, and please come back and join us. You're going to love the banter back and forth with Carmel and I, but there's a lot of things to discuss about America that people really aren't considering, and that's kind of what we're going to put out there. So, by the way, David, I will answer your question. I did a lot of research on that at 4 o'clock this morning before I even read your email. I didn't even know about it until today. I wish I'd have known about it on Friday when it came out, but Sunday night was the peak at $72. Now it's, I think, as of a couple hours ago, is at 42, which is generally what happens. There's a big run up and then it goes down. I think it's a lot of good money, but it's already at the $42. And so the amount, could it go to as a meme coin with no use case behind it? I don't know. But Doge, you know, Elon Musk has been pushing that for years and it's at 39 cents or 41 cents, whatever it is. I'm going to be watching it. It's not going to skyrocket. It's not going to go up overnight. And what I mean by skyrocket, 100x, I just can't see that happening with everything, because there's nothing behind it. But there could be something coming behind it. And there could be things that, Trump's been planning for years that we don't necessarily understand. And Trump's met with the owners of XRP or Ripple twice in the last few weeks. We know XRP is going to fly through the roof. We know HBAR, XDC, XLM, those are going to fly. So stick with the use case coins if you want to see the 10 to 1,000x. And what I mean by 1,000x, if you're paying 30 cents on a coin right now, times that times 1,000, it's the value of the coin in a very near future, $300 ish. I truly know that, and based on all the stuff that we're reading and seeing and the amount of money that they need to move money, plus the fact that the banks own the stock and the banks own Like the Japanese banks, they own a lot of stock in Ripple, and the entire country in Japan are behind Ripple and using Ripple. Um, I can go on. You can purchase XRP on your phone with using Uphold, the app. Um, and you want to get your hands on some XDC. So you need to purchase something else and then trade it for XDC. XDC is a little bit harder to purchase. But there's a couple coins I'm talking about in the next week, next weekend on the town hall meeting for the VIP members. One of them is Google AI. I'm trying to get my mind wrapped around where to buy that right now. So if anybody wants to look into that, but that's a brand new. And I have not been able to find where to. I haven't tried in about a month, but it was spoken about and potentially going to be released. And Google AI is going to go through the roof. So if you can get on that in the beginning, that's one of those things with a use case that will absolutely pump the coin. So Uphold, Coinbase, pretty much anywhere you can buy XRP. XRP, guys, look, even though it's $3 and 20 cents right now, whatever it is, it's so low. Okay. It's like buying Bitcoin a long time ago when Bitcoin was $3.20. There are a lot of people that have done a lot of research on a on a um, on a basis of like colleges looking at and doing studies on a product or a service. There's many different companies that have looked at Ripple XRP and at a minimum give it a valuation of 5,000 to a max of about 500,000 per coin. So do what you will. Again, I'm not here to make money on XRP. I'm here to help people to think through why they want to make money on XRP. And that's what we do with the VIP members. It's super important that you get on this right now. It's going to go down because he actually made it into office. The DC did not blow up. Um, you all know what I mean by that. And so it's kind of a weird thing that we're here and we're going to watch this transition. Next 4 years, there's going to be total destruction and mayhem, and at the same time, total wealth building and freedom for a lot of people that want to get in front of it. So God bless you guys. Thank you for the opportunity. I got to get ready for the next show in 1 hour. Man Cave Classified, episode 20, Carmel, all about America. So join us. God bless. Have a great day.